Okay, today we're going to talk about using your Healy for distance sessions. I myself am a Reiki practitioner as well as an emotion code practitioner. And then I also just do general energy healing, intuitive energy readings. And I'm starting to kind of meld everything into something that I'm like creating as my own form of energy healing. So I want to be able to show you guys some different ways that I use it within those different modalities, but I'd love to know what modalities, Yarrow and Nina, that you're hoping to infuse the Healy into for distant work. We'll focus on distant work today rather than anything in person.
So for myself, I do a lot of Reiki at distant, Ohana generational healing, which you go in through meridians and stuff like that and just like cut ties generationally. So that's another one. And molecular terminal valence sloughing system, that's another one I do distance as well. So that's MTSS.
I've never heard of that. What exactly does that entail?
So it's an immune system booster. So I call it Reiki breaking the rules because it's more like easygoing. Like you have your connecting points that you start with. And then when you dive into like the hands-on portion, you are just literally like doing hand placements from the feet up and then back down after they flip over. And then you do your closing off. So that's another one that I do distant. And yeah, that's kind of, so just really any healing. And then I also combine emotion coding because I don't have my certificate. So I combine that into my Reiki and into my other healing modalities.
Yeah, it sounds a bit, well, like emotion code sounds very similar to the Ohana in using the meridians to remove cords and ties to generational stuff, though that doesn't have to be the only focus of the emotion code. That is a big part of emotion code.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Yarrow?
I am trying to reinvent myself. I
love that.
I'm just kind of, I have hands of light and was raised like on a mountaintop. My parents had a massage school that they attended. They were attending aura balancing school and massage school when I was born. And then they moved to Evergreen, Colorado and opened their own massage school. And my dad was the instructor and my mom taught the nutrition part. So I just like have it in my blood. It's part of my life. So I don't really know a lot of the words about it. And I'm not certified in anything except massage therapy and clinical herbalism. But I've been practicing on people with energy and body work for the whole time, like since my early 20s. And I'm definitely an empath and am overwhelmed with other people's emotion and just energy and what's going on generally in the world. So the last 2 years have been a struggle, to say the least, and just feeling everybody else and what's happening. And so I'm looking forward to still embracing helping people, but I don't want to be around people and don't want to actually really physically touch anyone. And I'm pretty touched out. I'm a mother of 3. So I stopped doing hands-on massage therapy a long time ago because I just couldn't handle touching people anymore. But I have a website. I make herbal medicines. My girlfriend, who's a naturopath, has a Quest machine, which is an energetic frequency machine, and she's able to put frequencies into flower essences and herbs that she makes. So I've worked with her a little bit. I've had sessions with her, and she's offered me to be able to have sessions for other people with her machine, with her as the practitioner and me as the mediator. And then I do Purium, which is the superfood company that is super high vibration. And I just want to be able to incorporate any of the things that I do with the Healy, and also just use the Healy on its own to open the door for more clients and to see more people and help more people change their lives.
That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. Your background is really like magnetizing. It's like very cool to me that you got to grow up being around people who were in this world already, and what that must have influenced you, the different person you got to become, because you were almost like shown that this was normal and totally part of life, where like I myself had to really find all of this on my own. And so I think that really plays into why you feel like a wise woman about this stuff. To me, your energy does, because you literally live it.
Right.
And I think that it's really interesting that you said, like, I don't have the words for things like you guys do, but you don't need them, because you are literally embodying the work. Who cares that you didn't learn the word or have the certificate? The way I look at energy medicine now is like, I don't know, maybe certificates are just so that everybody else feels better about your work, but you don't need a certificate to tell you that you have abilities, that you can connect with other people, that you can help them heal. And that's part of what I'm starting to realize, is that the certificates and things like that, those are also very 3D things. They don't ensure that you learn anything. They don't ensure that you connect and that you're helping anybody heal. You know, you could just go through the motions to get certificates, but really putting in like that practice time, those hours of like using it, is what is even more valuable than having some certificate. I'm really like stepping into that space with my practice and starting to develop my own healing modality, because I realized that I'm not actually really doing the things that I have certificates for. It's just like I took little bits of knowledge and made it into my own thing, which sounds like, I think, similar to a lot of us who have gone on a journey a little bit longer with energy medicine. It's like you create your own version because you're you and you have your own unique abilities to tap into things. Sorry, I was just reading what Chloe was just saying. Okay. So we were just sitting here sharing with each other, guys, like the types of energy work that we do, so that I kind of had an idea of where to start with talking about doing distance work. So Lindsay or Chloe, I don't know if you want to pop on and share anything specific that you guys hope to be able to do at a distance. We're just focusing on distance work with the Healy today. Okay, 100% student today. Love it, Chloe. Okay, so I think then the way that I'd like to first talk about things is just a reminder of the ethics of practice, and maybe getting to know your client a little bit before using the Healy on them, whether that's with like an intake form. You're using the Healy at a distance, so it's like you're not needing to know if they have a pacemaker or anything, but just having a little bit of an idea of whether they have had energy work or not, knowing that you'll need to give more instruction to those that this is their first time. So I recommend having like a little bit of an elevator pitch for this is what energy work is, this is what the Healy is, kind of a thing when you first start with somebody. When I first do any of my sessions, let's say it's somebody who's never done energy work before, I'm like, this is what Reiki is. Let's say we're doing a Reiki infused Healy session, and I just share with them that Reiki is a very old healing art. It's not connected to any religion, but what it does is it connects you with universal life force energy to bring down healing energy into your body and help your body heal itself. It also is a space that you can get into deep meditation and receive messages from your team of light and your connections with what's beyond the 3D world. With the Healy involved, I am able to bring in whatever we want to focus on. So sometimes when I'm doing distant work with Healy and Reiki, we'll focus on connecting deeper with somebody's abilities, with somebody's team of light. Other times we're doing a very like 3D session where we're working on pain or we're working on some type of chronic health condition. So really that form that you can have people fill out before their session is helpful because it can save you time. If you're already like, okay, I know this person is coming to me because they have a broken heart and they don't know what direction to take with their career, then you already can have an idea of what you want to do with your Healy and even what you want to do with your Reiki session. And so I use Google Forms when I'm doing this, although my Calendly, I believe, just came out with something where I can integrate a form into. The Calendly is the website that I use for people to book through. Now, I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day about how I do booking. As a generator, my job in life is to respond to things. And so I found that I'm much more successful all around with my clientele if I don't open my schedule up indefinitely. I just open it up 1 or 2 weeks at a time. So if people really want to book with me, and this helps me to not have like random types of energy book with me that I don't have like space to hold for. Because when somebody clicks my link and they go to book, let's say they were like, oh, in 2 weekends I'm free, and it shows Robin as nothing. I find that the people who really want to work with me and that are good matches will then just message me and say, hey, I was trying to book with you and it's saying that there's no availability. And I'm like, oh, well, that's because I need to open it up for you. And then I'm able to open it up for them. When I wasn't doing that, then I was getting a lot of chaotic people coming in. And that's just really not where I want to focus my energy right now. I like doing stuff with people who are more like me and healers on their path, looking to look deeper within their sessions. And that helps me to call in the people's energy that I like for sessions. So having something like a booking page is more professional, and it will look much better for your Healy sessions than if you're just like doing this through Venmo or text messages. You can do that. Absolutely, you can do that. But if you're really trying to make money off of these distant sessions, then you should show up professional doing these. And having a button that's easy for somebody to just click and schedule with you will get you more like sessions with people, because some people also are really uncomfortable of reaching out and saying like, hey, Yarrow, I want a session with you, but I don't see where I can sign up for a session. Some people will never do that because they're too nervous, too timid. But if there's an easy button for them to click and just schedule a session, you'll get more clients that way.
Okay, can I interrupt for a second?
Yes, please, please. I'd love for you guys to interact with me live. I don't want to just be talking at you all. So please, like, I know most of you don't have your video on, but it feels a little uncomfortable to just be talking at nobody. Thank you, Yarrow. Go ahead.
Okay, so you said you're a generator.
Mhm.
Is that your human design?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I found out what mine was and I already forgot, but I have the recording, so I'll look that up again. Do you think, so I have a website already because I make herbal products. Is it okay to just incorporate Healy into that already existing website, or should I make its own landing page or whatever? Because I don't want it to get like convoluted.
I will show you my website. I have Healy on my website. It's on its own page on my website, but I don't think that, now this is my opinion about all kinds of things. I don't have the bandwidth to have multiple things. Like I tried to have like a page for energy work in Healy and I just can't. I just feel like it's too much for me. So I like to just have it all. I also do have like a secondary website that I run all of my courses on, that is like already for me too much. So My website was really for my nutrition business. I am a nutritionist and I used to run a pretty decently sized practice before I became a mom. And I just don't love coaching people about nutrition anymore. It doesn't light me on fire. So I really don't do anything with nutrition unless you just so happen to, I don't know, find your way into me. I program for a few people still. So I have my information here about Healy. And this was not difficult for me to make it all. I took information from some of the other things that I've made, and you guys are more than welcome to take information that's written off of the basics of Healy book and put it on your website. You have my permission to use that to help you if you feel like you're not sure where to start with verbiage. So when people find their way to this, and I have made one Healy sale this way. I don't have like a lot of SEO stuff behind my website, search engine optimization, for people to find Healy. But one person was looking for empath and nutrition and found my website and ended up purchasing a Healy for me. So I do recommend having it. If you have a website, you should put it on your website because you definitely could get sales. When people click to purchase Healy, it takes them straight to the Healy shop under my link. So they're like, yes, this is my person. And then they could straight go and buy, even potentially without me even knowing that somebody is doing that. So keep an eye if you're going to have this on your page, just keep an eye that you're looking maybe once a week for unplaced partners in your back office. And then I just have this little area here about all the ways that Healy can support you. And I picked things that were more earthly, more 3D. When I made this page, it was like, I really found that people were not responding to me at all about the more ethereal ways that Healy helps. Now I have a group of all of you around me where I'm able to really talk more about how much this gets in and can heal the deep spaces in you. But on this, I talk more about the physical benefits of it. I have an area about how everyone can benefit from Healy and a little bit about the science, and then some testimonies. And then you can also come here and I have a lot of the programs written out as well. So if people wanted to get like a general idea of the programs and stuff here. I also have just on my page, my website is really annoying about payments. So like I revert it to somewhere else for payments because it drives me crazy through my website. So I just have it listed like this. Look, like this is what I do. If you want to book any kind of services with me, click here. These are like the classes that I offer as of right now that are open for enrollment. That people can, click on, and it leads them, these ones lead them to my teaching platform. The other one leads them to Calendly, where they can book with me. So I hope that's helpful to just see how you can literally just incorporate it as a page on your website. I believe if you wanted to make like a full-on Healy website that's just for Healy, I think that you have to get permission from Healy. There's something in the back office where you put in a ticket where it literally says like request to have like an affiliate website or something like that, or something I've seen. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But just having that little section on your page that reverts back to the Healy shop page is appropriate and could definitely get you sales, especially if you spend even like half a day on the SEO optimization. I imagine that you could funnel, especially if you know how that works. And I'm not that person. Like, I don't know about those things. I'm surprised I even know what SEO means. But if you are that person and you want to spend some time, you would funnel sales to yourself. Absolutely. Okay, did I answer your question, Yarrow, or did I just go off on a crazy tangent?
No, you did.
Okay.
That was awesome. And then you also said one other was, oh, when you're working with people, you do Reiki infused Healy sessions. And aren't all Healy sessions Reiki infused? Kind of, does that seem?
So definitely. So what I mean is that I actively show that I'm doing Reiki within the Healy session. So instead of it just being a Healy session where all I'm doing is letting the Healy do everything, I am infusing, like I literally have portions, like when the frequency is sending to them from the Blue app, where I put on frequency music and I literally do Reiki during that time. So to me, it's not the same thing because I'm adding more to it than what the Healy is doing is just sending, it's a machine sending frequency. I kind of get in there and I feel like then I am the controller of it, not the Healy, because I'm the one wielding it. I am the practitioner. And it's different than just sitting here and being like, okay, I'm just going to press a button and let the Healy do everything. So I kind of look at the Healy as being background. The Healy is background sending frequency, but I am actively the one who is facilitating healing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess that's just how I do the Healy. So that's why.
So you just are always connected to that. Like you're doing it like I just described, like being the one who's the facilitator.
Well, you almost can't help it. Like now I've had it maybe a month and I am like so vibrational and on fire everywhere I'm going. I'm like burning myself out almost. I'm having laryngitis. I'm having what you guys are calling a frequency hangover, except on a really big scale. My consciousness is just like being reminded of how much energy is around, how much it's all pouring into us, and we're pouring it out all the time. I've like been reignited as far as energy is concerned, just by having the Healy and running it and reading the few things that I've had the chance to read about it.
Yeah. And so to me, this sounds like you're not grounding yourself. You are giving too much of your own energy with healing rather than being the vessel or the catalyst for healing. So grounding yourself before every session and truly grounding yourself, not just you being like quick about it or anything, but really getting to a space where you're like, okay, like I'm feeling safe and grounded. I can move into this session and allow the Healy to do some of the work so that you're not, that is the wonderful thing about the Healy is that you can offset some of the work onto the Healy. So for example, I used to do the chakra balancing all by myself. And some now, like when I'm doing a Reiki infused session, I'll let the Healy do at least showing what's going on with the chakra rather than me going through with my pendulum and talking to the person about every single thing that comes up as I scan. I let the Healy do that part and then spend more time in actually wielding Reiki and wielding healing energy to them over letting the Healy take over that part. And I found that that helps me a lot. Grounding my energy has been the number one tool in life that's changed everything for me as an empath. And really getting good about grounding as like part of your everyday hygiene every single day. And if you're a super empath, like it sounds like you are, Yarrow, you're going to need to ground many times throughout the day, especially when you're busy doing energy work. And that can be like, for me, like I like to go outside and ground in the morning. I like the sun on my face. It's kind of like it connects me and grounds me, and it's quick for me. But throughout the day, I do a lot of energetic grounding, like visualization in my mind's eye of growing roots into the earth and pulling up Gaia energy to balance me, to release some of the like energy I'm carrying from others. And I wonder too, Yarrow, do you remember, are you possibly a reflector or a projector in human design? Does that sound familiar? One of those?
I really don't remember, and neither of those sound like make me go, oh yeah, I was that.
Yeah, the more open centers you have, those types of human design types have more open centers, and the more open centers you have, the more energy you absorb in from or outside of you. the more defined centers you have, the more energy you put out. So I have a lot of defined centers. So you guys see me show up in my energy the way you do. And for example, Chloe, she has many undefined centers. So she absorbs more energy than she is able to put out. And I'm the opposite of her with that. So that might be part of why you're feeling so like overtaken by other people, is needing to clean out. Kind of like those open centers are like pool filters. So they help you, they're your superpowers. They help you read people's energy. They help you to sense into people's needs, but then like their very essence gets stuck in you. So clearing your energy throughout the day might be extremely, well, it will be extremely helpful for you as well. And my favorite quick tool to clear out energy is with selenite. It's like one of the cheapest crystals. It's my favorite crystal, and you only need a really small piece of it. I keep selenite everywhere, all over the house, in every bag, in the car, because whenever I feel like somebody's energy has gotten stuck onto me, you can literally use it like a vacuum cleaner over your body, and it just sucks that energy up. But what's beautiful with selenite is you don't have to do anything with it. It self cleanses, it transmutes the energy. So it's not like you're walking around with a bunch of negativity in your crystal. It's just the most amazing crystal and how it does that.
Okay. I thought maybe I could find my notes here, but I don't see them. So as I'm giving a massage, which I do very infrequently, but like I did the other day, I get to where I start to like cough and choke on the other person's stuff. And I feel like I'm grounding beforehand, and I'm saying to myself the whole time as I become overwhelmed with the other person's garbage, I'm a hollow reed, through me, not to me. I'm using the universal life force energy. This is not coming from me. Like I am trying to transmute and visualizing pushing their energy into the ground, allowing their energy to go up to spirit. My hands are so hot. My butt cheeks start to sweat. I'm like coughing, literally coughing and choking. So maybe you have a few more tools or ideas to give me to let it out.
I have an ebook that I'll send all of you who came today. I'll just like put it in the group app that I made. It's like a part of my Overwhelmed Empath Academy, and it pulls a lot of the tools from the Overwhelmed Empath Academy that has ways of you cutting cords, of you calling your energy back and protecting your energy, grounding your energy, all of those things. And maybe somewhere in that book is a technique that you've not tried before. But what keeps coming to me is the type of clientele you're calling in. And maybe at this chapter in life, you're meant to be working with people who aren't bringing you such heaviness to alchemize, but who are maybe more like-minded kind of individuals who are aware of themselves. It's like when you're somebody like the people who I made the Overwhelmed Empath Academy for, when you are an out of control empath, when you're walking around feeling everything and then spewing everything out of you because you literally feel out of control, those are really hard people to work with. Not that they don't deserve to be worked with and loved on, believe me, they're my people, but it takes so much more to help those people because they're out of control. They don't even realize what they're throwing at you. And so maybe that's part of calling them in. Using the coach app is a great tool to call in maybe more level-headed clients who are not coming with such baggage, people who are wanting to maybe grow, transform rather than heal immense traumas. That could be just like a reprieve, like a break for you to call in some lighter clients as well. Eric, I don't know what you mean by that would be amazing if there was a Reiki program. Oh, like a Healy Reiki program. I don't know how I feel about that. That's interesting. I suppose because I think everybody wields Reiki so differently. What would a Reiki program be? Because Reiki isn't like a certain frequency. But I guess if you were to use the frequency of the symbols of Reiki. Ah, yes, that's what you meant, Erica. Yes. Oh, I don't know why I have hesitation to that. I do get weird about the Healy and people using it for everything rather than as a tool. And while I think it could be cool, and I know that Susan told us that Marcus has already programmed Ayurvedic astrology into the Healy, they just haven't like opened it up for us to use yet. Yeah. Okay. So, but this is a good transition back into being the practitioner and doing sessions, right? So let's go back to that. We talked about ethics. We talked about scheduling your sessions. And I actually am taking a page from this book myself and have drastically increased the prices of these sessions that I'm offering because I don't have time for a million of them. So I'd rather just call in a couple of them with a higher price. And also, to be honest, my prices were so much lower than all of yours. I don't want to undermine your guys getting clients because I'm that person who's like, everybody should afford energy work. So it's $25. And while that's wonderful, I can use that like discernment as like a coupon for people, but advertise still as the larger price. Because like I said, I don't want to bring your guys' ability to earn money with this down. Not that everybody's like looking at all of us together, but I think if we all have similar prices, it helps each other out rather than somebody being like, oh, well, I'm just going to go see Robin because she's only $25, which is not even my intention because I don't have all the time in the world to have one-on-one sessions. So for me, my sessions have really changed in how I'm using the Healy with my distance sessions because I don't have time to do quiet stuff anymore, like to do hour-long Reiki sessions. I only have a couple of times a week that I can have those types of sessions. So I've really melded my sessions into being like interactive, back and forth experiences for people. And I'll show you guys, I'm going to plug my phone in and basically show you what I do on a session. So you guys can take a look at that. And this is really just what I do with a Reiki session. With a Healy session. If I'm just doing a Healy experience, while I do meld myself in with this, and I am an intuitive, a medium, an empath. So lots of my abilities, they just come out while I'm doing my sessions. So people who have Healy experiences with me really get readings because the Healy gives me information that turns it into a reading, especially if you're using the coach app. If you're connected to your abilities at all, they're going to really shine through the coach app. You're going to be able to, for example, like if you're doing a reading with tarot cards, it's kind of the same thing in the coach app, except you're not using tarot cards. You're using the little cards that come up for each category of the coach app, plus the codes, and you're melding that together, plus whatever's coming through on your end intuitively. And I think for me, people are having such breakthroughs with the coach app that I really am now only doing an aura analysis in the coach. I think the resonance is silly compared to the rest of them. And when you're showing people the Healy at a distance, it's almost like the resonance scanners can be used to like prove to people who want it to be proved to them. Like, okay, I'm going to scan you. You have skin issues. Skin came up. Now you see that the Healy has scanned your biofield, but I don't call those people in anymore. I've been calling the kind of people in who are already like open and curious to this, not like prove it to me. So I just kind of show them the resonance scanner. I don't actually use that in my distance sessions unless it's for an acute situation. I'm just helping somebody. So I have paid for sessions. I have sessions I do for free as a way to sell a Healy and show them the Healy. And then I have sessions that I just do because I can and I want to, and you need help and I can help you. And I always teach all of my students to have those free type of sessions. They help you grow as a practitioner, and you have that responsibility that when there are people in need and you can help them, why not help them? as there are, like I've shared many times, there have been times in life where I desperately needed help for my family and did not have money to find help in energy work. And so I always hold that for other people, that there are times in life that people still deserve help, even if they don't have money exchange to pay for it. There still can be a beautiful energetic exchange. You can say to them like, hey, why don't you share about your experience and your stories after I do this for you? And that could be our exchange. Like, you help me be seen in the world with Healy, and I'll help you. You know, you guys can find your own ways that you feel comfortable with doing that. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and just start showing you guys what it looks like when I do a distance session. Screen is paused. Okay, so I always use the blue app when I'm doing distance sessions. And like I said, guys, feel free to just chime in and ask questions. You can interrupt me. It doesn't bother me. Okay, what was I just going to grab?
So you have your Healy attached to your computer.
I have my phone attached to the computer. Oh, and guys, I highly recommend doing this. Like, what I'm doing is what I do during my sessions. I'm on live with the person, or you could record this. Let's say that you have the type of practice where you don't come live with your client. You send recordings of a reading or whatever. You could just record yourself doing this, but I think it is vitally important you are showing this screen while you're working, or else their conscious mind is kind of like, what are you even doing? What's even happening? Because the Healy in and of itself is not an experience. You have to create the experience. If you're going to charge for this, you need to create an experience, or else you can just do this like you guys have seen, like with just going through and talking. You could do that for free when you're selling the Healy, but make an experience if you're going to charge for it, especially if you're going to be on the higher end, closer to like $100+ for a session. Create an experience.
Is that people don't seem very willing to share what they are charging? Is that a kind of an average?
I think it's mostly because people aren't, like, I don't think there are a lot of people who are legitimately charging and running a Healy service.
Okay.
I really think that that's the biggest thing, is that they're not actually getting clients, and so maybe they feel like inauthentic to tell what they're charging. My sessions were $30 and I just raised them to $88, and they last for 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes they last for an hour because I'm a chit chatter, and everybody knows that about me who's working with me. So I tend to go over in my sessions because I just give the time that I have and what feels intuitive for me. I'm just opening, while my screen I know is sitting off to the side, I'm just opening up my Spotify that has my frequency music in it. I gifted you guys all my playlist. It's in the boards app. I don't think you have to pay for Spotify to like access this. There might be commercials for you or something if you don't pay for it. But this Reiki frequency music is all frequency music. It is all infused with frequency. And this is the music that I use while sending frequency from Healy, because I've seen firsthand how much faster healing happens when the conscious and the subconscious mind are working together. So hearing the frequencies with your conscious mind while unconsciously the frequencies are coming in, I just see bigger shifts in people. So when I come and I start with this, I've already talked to the person about like my spiel about how energy work feels at a distance, how you can still feel the energy moving around you. I give them examples of what they might see when they close their eyes, just like I do in Reiki. You might see colors, moving swirls, symbols, pictures, movies playing out in your mind's eye. You might feel like you receive messages or downloads. It's all normal. You might feel sensations on your physical body, like a breeze, tickling Pringles. Oh my goodness. I need to drink more coffee this morning, guys. You know, prickly feelings on your skin. And I let them know too that this is an interactive healing session. You don't need to just like sit there and be quiet. You can ask questions. You can talk with me as this is going. So when I get in here, I always start with an aura analysis. And this is because this has the ability to open, balance, and align the chakra system. And energy works better when the chakra system is open, balanced, and aligned. It makes like a super highway where it's easy to get in and pull out what no longer serves you. And it's easier for the frequencies to get in and shift you if that system is functioning properly. So I highly recommend for all of you, before using the Healy in a session for yourself or for your clients, that you come and you do let's do you today, Luna. That you come and you do the aura analysis first. So I pretty much keep the coil in my Healy when I'm doing the distance work, though it's not meant to be helpful for distant work at all. It only has a 3-foot radius of like its reach. However, anecdotally, I have noticed since getting the coil that people's sessions are more impactful. What I think it is that the Healy is more in connection with me and I am in connection with the person. It's not that the coil is working its magic on the person across the world for me, but I think that it is influencing something with me that's allowing my connection to be stronger, perhaps. I don't have like an actual answer for that. That's just anecdotally what I've been seeing. So one thing that I let everybody know, because this says record aura, and people get really excited if you just say like, I have this thing that scans your aura and it'll show you your aura. People are like, oh, that's so cool. But the Healy does not scan your aura. This is the chakra system. This is the visual representation of the chakra system, which is not what aura photography looks like. And I'm going to move this over really quick because I meant to grab this. I want to show you what aura photography really looks like so that you guys have this knowledge if people ask you this question. Just give me one moment. Okay, so aura photography is something completely different. There's lots of different ways. There's Carillion photography. It's like this machine you put your hand on and it reads your biofield through your hand. But this picture is you can see based off, if you look back and forth between the chart and the Luna's picture, this is literally just the bar graph in different representation around her in a circle. So you can see that like her root chakra is really high. Okay, so her root chakra is higher. So I want to show you guys this just so that when you get asked this question, you feel like you can answer this solidly. That is just a visual, just like the bar graph is of the chakra system. And these are what aura photography looked like. They're not a rainbow. They're never going to be a rainbow. You can see in this one, sorry guys, I'm really bad at this whole thing. You can kind of see that there's this arch here of orbs. If you look closely, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orbs. This is Luna's aura. And this is her team of light that got captured around her, her angels that are around her. This is my husband's aura. It's very different than mine and Luna's. I'm sorry, this was my aura right before I had Luna. And our aura together, like as a family, is more similar. So I just show you guys this because this question gets asked to me a lot. And I think it must just be something with the translation of German to English or something of why they call this an aura scanner, and not just a chakra scanner. So that's what it is. It's a chakra scanner, and it has the ability to open, balance, and align your chakra system. Do we have any questions about that before I dive into some of the things that you can pull from this aura thing? Oh, Erica, I love that. Erica says she has a pay it forward option on her website that someone can pay for someone else's session. I just love that. That's really cool. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is click this cloud, because this is the first PDF, and this has invaluable information for your client that also is so much easier to just send your client rather than you having to type out everything that came up in their chakra scan. So what I do is I click this, and I do this all live with them. I'm like, okay, I'm going to save this for you. I save it to the files in my phone. You save it wherever you feel like saving it. And I come into here and I show them. I just show them this part because there is a lot of personal information within the chakra scan that some people maybe don't want you to shine light on. It also takes a lot of time. So unless you're doing an actual just a chakra session, I don't spend time reading this to these people. But if you were to do, let's say, a 1 hour deep dive into the chakras, absolutely. Reading this out loud is helpful for people because it gets the conscious mind involved. And you don't even know if like they're going to go read this stuff after. So this information here in this first chunk is unique depending on this number here. The rest of this information, the general and all the way down, this is just general information about the crown chakra, but it's really important to send this to your client because most people don't have that general knowledge of the chakra system, and saves a lot of time than having to like go in and write all this up yourself. I can say that firsthand. That used to take me hours in review of writing people emails after their sessions of even just the chakra system stuff, even based off of me already having like a template I would pull from. It still took forever. So I love this. This is where a lot of my energy is offset with Healy, is in these PDFs. Then when you come into this part, if you want to talk, like spend time, I usually talk to people about their chakra system here because this is something that I am a practitioner of. And so I'll talk to them about what I interpret as going on here. Not even caring what the Healy says. I just look at this and I'll give my interpretation. Like actually right now for Luna, her whole system looks really good. I mean, she's a super empath, so I'm not surprised to see that her solar plexus is high. And so I would love to see her sacral up a little bit more and maybe her root chakra come down just a little bit because she doesn't need to feel so grounded. She's at home, she's safe right now. I also always check all of the chakras, and this is because the chakras are a system. So if you just pick 3 of them, you're only balancing 3, and the unbalanced rest will pull them right back out of balance. You have to balance the entire chakra system. So I recommend checking them all, or you'll see that you won't actually shift them very much, or it won't stay shifted. I noticed that after doing this, whether I'm doing this with the Healy or I'm doing this on my own, that chakra balances can last for about a week and being in that space where they stay balanced if the person is also adding in doing things that you've recommended. Like, let's say their heart chakra was really low. And so you're asking them for the next week to try and stay as heart-centered as they can. So whenever anger or frustration comes over them, you're asking them to just close their eyes for a moment and pull in their most joyous memories instead. And that will keep them heart-centered for that week before they need like another balance. That is also a selling point too for a lot of clients. In the past, when I used to have like ongoing Reiki sessions, people would book weekly because giving them that information almost gave them permission that they were like, oh, I am feeling a little run down again a week later. I want another session. And it also gives you an opportunity to sell packages of sessions when you present it like this works better if you do this more than once, which energy work does. It works better the more you do it. So now you'll click analysis. And there is this spot at the bottom. I always include the high negative relevancies. I wish they would change that word negative, because people kind of tense up when they see negative. But what I see this as is shadow work. And you cannot heal if you don't go to those spaces where light needs to be shined. So again, I always include that. And I say this out loud to clients because, if they might see that I clicked negative and be nervous, like, oh my gosh, are you going to say that there's like some entity attached to me? Or are you going to say I have cancer? Healy is never going to say anything like that ever. It's not what it does. I don't even think it has a function in it at all that says cancer. So it'll never diagnose something like that, or diabetes or anything like that. But I say that to people, especially for the first time of them seeing this, so that they feel safe while we're doing this. I then start the analysis and I let them know too, we're still just scanning. Now we're scanning your individual chakras to find where you need frequency support for that specific chakra. So still, we've not sent any frequency. We're still just looking at things. We're still just scanning. And you can see how there were just blue wavy lines. When we send frequency, there are red and blue lines, the red lines being the frequencies that are being sent. So during this part, and I was just telling Yarrow this before the rest of you jumped on today, that I did find some information about how to interpret these that are slightly different than the Coach app ones that pertain to the aura. I also found information that explains why it says this: the heart chakra is shining in the sacral chakra color orange. If any of you are familiar with chakras, that's not a message really that I think any of us get for ourselves, like to say like, oh, your heart chakra is shining orange instead of green or pink. But this is the Healy's way of giving us information. And so I found information that it describes what it means, like if a chakra is shining a different color, or if it's shining like there's something specific for turquoise, black, or white as well. And so I'm going to make that into a cheat sheet for you guys, just like we did for the Coach analysis as well. So I don't go through and read any of this information to these people. What I do is grab the PDF. You can do that by clicking Actions, Show PDF. This is a different PDF than the first one, and this one is really big. It's hard to see, but there's an arrow down here at the bottom of this screen that you can go through and see. This has like 21 pages to it. So there's a lot of information for your client in here. Again, you press this weird triangle thing at the top to save it. I just save to files. I guess it's saving into my iCloud and not on my phone. When I want to look for these, I just want to show you guys how I do that on my iPhone. So I pull down on the top of my screen till this search bar comes up. So you kind of just pull from the middle of your screen. So I'm touching like right under Luna's chin on the screen, and I'm pulling down, and you get the search bar, and then you can just search files. And I'm sorry, this only works for iPhone. I don't know how to do this on other phones. But when you click files, then you can just go in and you'll easily just see what. Right here is the one I just did of Luna, and here's the one I just did before. So it's easy to find to email to your clients afterward. Okay, back to this. Let's say that I left the screen to show you guys that, and when I came back, this was gone, and you were in the middle of a session. You won't be able to go back to the bar graph part of this, but you can, when you hit the home screen, let's say we got out of that and I'm like, oh my God, it's gone. If you click lists, then you'll see right here, this is the session I was just doing with Luna, and you can click it and it comes right back to this page. It won't take you back to the visual part of things, that is sucky because you won't be able to grab that again. But I just tell you this because this app is finicky. And if you hit something even like slightly on the side of the page and stuff, sometimes it'll kick you out. And I wanted to just show you that if you've chosen to save this client to the cloud, then that list, that program that you were working with is going to still be right there. So now what I do is I vibrate. And this is when I'm like, okay, Luna, I'm going to play some frequency music while I send you the vibrations right now. And I am going to read to you some affirmations. So you are consciously shifting as you are subconsciously shifting. And I will have, sometimes I'll choose the music ahead of time. Like I know Luna's going to come to me and she wants to work on manifesting things. Other times I'll just quickly go through my Spotify list and just find something that just like, I don't know, lights my solar plexus up, makes me feel like a yes, and play that. So you can go through and like I've put in, if you guys are using the Spotify playlist, there's music for all types of sessions. So I have ones that are like hour long, ones that are like 6 minutes long, one that are 30 minutes long. So you can use it based off of that as well. So let's say, and another thing that I highly recommend doing is sharing the sound through your Zoom call, not just over the screen. And I'm going to show you guys like the difference in how that sounds so that you know, because this is something that can come across as really unprofessional when you're not playing sound right through your healing sessions. So this is what it's going to sound like if you're just playing it over my speakers. Hold on, guys, it's not started yet. Can you guys hear that? But it's kind of like in and out a little bit. Well, now it just stopped, of course. So what you notice when you're playing it over the speakers like this is the people on the other end are hearing the waves of sound like whomping in and out. It's not constant sound. And what that will do to people is pull them from a meditative state or annoy them or distract them. And it takes from your healing work. Instead, what you can do when you're sharing your screen on Zoom and you go into share screen, on the very bottom left side of the corner, it says share sound. So now when I share this, you guys are literally hearing the sound as if it's coming out of your computer being played straight to you. And it just makes for better sound sharing. I share this just because I see very professional people not knowing this function often within this realm. So you guys can do this and stand out above the rest. Because
Can you say again how to do it?
Yes, I'll show you guys my screen as I do this. See if I can just like share. I think you guys can see my whole screen when I share this. Can you see my whole screen, my whole computer screen? Okay. Can you see that I clicked new share? Or is this screen not showing, like the Zoom call screen where it says desktop whiteboard?
I can see it.
Someone can see it?
I don't know what you're,
Okay.
I mean, there's a Zoom screen behind, then I see another screen behind, like your Finder screen maybe, and then Spotify is on the top.
Okay, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this for you guys then. And that way you guys can see what this screen looks like, and that in the bottom left-hand corner is where it shows share sound. And I'll send that to you guys in the group after this. Where is my phone? Okay, so now what I do is I ask them to close their eyes, hold the intention that they're allowing myself to connect with them and Healy to connect, to send healing frequencies to them. And I always throw myself in there too, because I am facilitating the connection as well, and don't want them to like cut me off from facilitating this as well. So I'll put on the music. I'm just gonna put on the music like low for you guys in the background right now. I don't even know if you hear it or not, but I put on the music, I click start. Sometimes this happens, guys, where like it takes a minute for, I'm sure you've noticed, for your Healy to get back connected. I just give this extra time for them to just be centered. If they're watching me, like we're doing the aura analysis and this happens, I just keep talking to them like it's normal and nothing to be annoyed about. And then I read these dark green areas and I just do like my guided meditation voice. I live out my individuality and I am authentic. I have a holistic view of spirituality and perceive myself as a spiritual being. I always do this for 1 minute and 20 seconds because to me, it's just long enough to be able to read most of these and not too long that they start thinking like, I can't sit still anymore. What am I going to make for dinner? I have to do something in an hour. So 1 minute and 20 seconds, I feel like is a perfect amount of time to share this. If this is how you want to do your session, you absolutely can do your sessions completely differently than I do. And go through all of this and let's say, okay, like it's at the end, we're done. I stop the music. I ask them how they're feeling. I ask them if anything came through that they want to share with me. While that's happening, if they're doing a paid for session, while I'm reading the affirmations, I just let Reiki flow freely from my hands, whatever is meant to come to them during that time. So after this, I then do a coach analysis session for them. I don't want to do like a huge deep dive into that aspect of things because I did a training on that last week or so, where I show you guys what I do with that aspect, because that's a longer part of this. If you guys are using the coach app as it's supposed to and pulling all that information out of it, so you can add that in if you want to. But what I wanted to share with you guys next is kind of the opposite. Rather than, this is more like the Healy experience and charging for just a Healy experience, rather than infusing it in with your other practices. So you guys have seen, some of you have seen what I do with the frequency infused Reiki circles or Reiki infused frequency circles, whatever you want to call them. I start off with that aura scan and I show everybody what I'm doing. I show them what their auras look like as a group. I capture them as a group. And you can do that by clicking group here. And in putting this information, and I'll take a picture of everybody that's on the Zoom call with me, and I'll take a snapshot of what everybody's chakra collectively looks like. And then during the session, sometimes I'll balance the chakra system through sending the frequencies like we just did. But I'll choose to do it for like 12 or 15 minutes. So the frequencies are sending the whole time I'm doing the Reiki portion of the session. Or let's say if I was doing a circle and we were working on grief and releasing grief or something, then I wouldn't necessarily run the chakra frequencies for that. I might do that quickly, open, balance, align their chakra system, and then move on to something like in the mental balance section, where then I would go into the resonance scanner, scan the group for the mental balance programs, and then vibrate all of those programs to them during the session instead. So whether you are the type of practitioner that flies by their seat about whatever energy comes into their sessions, and this is what I'm going to make it into, or you're somebody who says, today is going to be a session all about womb healing, and that's what we're working on. So I'm going to do lots of sacral and root chakra type of work, and maybe a little bit of heart chakra work. And so I'm going to bring in joy of life program, and you kind of get to make up the recipe for frequencies for your clientele based off of what you're doing, whether it's a group thing you've called people into or individual sessions. Now, when I'm doing individual sessions with people, I encourage them to do multiple sessions, because when we do the first session, which even just the coaching session, you heal a bunch of stuff, you get a bunch of stuff out of the way, but then it lets the next thing rise to the surface of what is now important to heal, to get out of the way even more. So making like packages, or even offering like a special buy two get one free for the person to just come in and experience this with you, how it feels, because it's likely you'll get repeat customers if you've done this more than once with them. So maybe even offering the first time free, and then like a deal on their first paid one, because I find that the people who are returning to me to use these are people who have gotten past that first experience, and the people who you make it an experience for, rather than just you could get on and show everything that I just showed, but just chit chat with them as if you're selling the Healy, and that's still appropriate. But I think you'll sell a Healy easier if you give them an experience and can show them what it could really look like and feel like. It'll help them find more healing at a distance with the Healy in and of itself, which will make them intrigued to get their own as well.
What kind of guidance do you give people for creating their focus?
Yes. So I actually still pull up the cheat sheet right in front of me when I'm about to do a coach call with somebody with it. So I just remind them that we want it to be present tense, positive, as if it has already happened, and have as much detail as possible. So let's say this person is coming to me and they want to get pregnant. Let's say that that's what they want to manifest, is getting pregnant. So then I would have them write it out. I always make them write their focus out, because there is frequency and energy behind their typed words that's different than me typing it out for them. So I'd have them write in like realistic things. Like you can't say like I'm pregnant tomorrow and I'm 6 months pregnant already. Like that clearly is just like not feasible in the way that human beings are. So help guide them to realistic details that can be in there. But you could say like, I continue to do the work every day to support my fertility and my womb. I, in 3 months, have conceived my baby, and my baby is growing healthy inside of me. I am connected to my baby, and things like that, like as much detail as you can, as if it already is a thing, not like, and also you don't want it to be negative. So it's not like I want my fertility issues to disappear. I'm so sick of not being able to have a baby. Will I ever have a baby? Nothing negative, nothing as if it hasn't happened. And this is extremely important for people who you're working with who are thought-based manifestors. These are the people who are going to get insane results from using the coach analysis, because they're thought-based manifestors. Thought-based manifestors have a way with words. They're the people who need to put words down on paper to manifest. Unlike their counterparts, feeling-based manifestors, where this is not going to actually be the way that they manifest, but how they can manifest from this is holding what they're writing as if it is happening, like they're feeling what would it feel like to break through my fertility journey? What would it feel like to be carrying life within me? What would it feel like? They need to sit in that space with you while you're doing this, if you're really working with somebody to manifest with this app. And you can find out whether they're thought-based or feeling-based by knowing their human design, or by looking at their body chart. It's not like part of being a generator or a manifestor. It's specific to each person, but it's within their design. And there might be other ways to find out what people's manifestation style is. That's just how I know. So those people who are thought-based manifestors who are writing this out for you, it's as the practitioner, your responsibility to just make sure if you see anything that's written within their focus that could be shifted, that you ask them like, oh, hey, you wrote this in like, it hasn't happened yet. Can you rewrite this a little bit? And it doesn't need to be like something crazy long. It could be sometimes when I'm writing my focuses, I like after I'm done, I'm like, oh wow, that was like 3 paragraphs worth of stuff that I just wrote in there. Other times it's more simple 2 or 3 sentences. And I highly recommend that you all write your focuses somewhere else and then copy and paste them into the app, because the app is finicky. And like I was saying earlier, if you accidentally like move weird in it, it could take you out of that screen and you'll lose your entire focus that you just spent like your heart and soul pouring into the machine. So write it in like your notes app or on like a piece of paper first and then type it into there so you don't lose that completely. I hope I answered your question. I feel like I just went off on a tangent.
You answered it
Okay.
and then some. It was valid.
Okay, good. I'm just reading something that Nina said. When she does Reiki, she sees different colors and chakras and use it as a way of the chakra needs a little bit more of what this other chakra offers, kind of a thing. But that's how her intuition guides her. So I'll read to you guys what I have right here. It's just in my notes and not in something like pretty to put as a resource yet. This says that when you see that the same chakra color is in the same chakra, so the root chakra is shining red, that means the energy is harmonized with that chakra. The reading is relatively positive in nature. When it partially contains the right chakra color, it means that, so like it's partially shining red in the root chakra, harmonization is currently in progress already. And the reading is somewhat positive in nature. I don't like this whole positive and negative thing as a practitioner. I think this is part of the translation from German to English. And I think I would look at this more like these are easier to address than that are going to take more work. The next one is when there's a completely different chakra color in the chakra. So the root chakra is shining at the color of green, the heart chakra. It means that that energy is not harmonized within the chakra. And it indicates that this chakra is a source of the issue at hand. So I think these are just honestly really algorithmy ways of writing what chakra practitioners do and feel as they're going through your system, like Nina was saying. She sees these in her mind's eye, these different colors when she's working on the chakras. She can see that your heart chakra is shining more red, and that's showing her that you're really ungrounded, and it's even affecting your heart and your ability to be heart-centered. I don't feel the colors the way that Nina does during her sessions, but this is very helpful to me because now I see why Healy did this. I go based off of how they feel, how they move, rather than focusing on the colors, which is not right or wrong. Nina and I have different clair abilities and similar clair abilities. We've just found our own way of sensing into the chakras' energies. So I actually find this really helpful that we're talking about this, because I was just saying to Yarrow, I was like, I don't agree with this. This is weird. But Nina just explaining to me how she sees these, it is kind of how I read it. I just feel it. I don't see it the same way that Nina does. Sometimes it'll say the chakra is shining turquoise. That means that there's this a readiness to harmonize that chakra, and that the reading of that chakra is generally encouraging. You could also see that a chakra is shining black. That means that the chakra is denied. So to me, this means that the chakra is gunked up. It is not open, balanced, and aligned. It's not spinning, it's down when it's black. This identifies to you that you're resisting something. There's something within the chakra's theme that you're resisting. White, if it's shining white, it means that you're avoiding something within this chakra. It's up to you to identify what you're ignoring and what you're resisting from the black. And then I probably have time after I get off this call with you guys, since my little one and my husband are gone, to put together really really quick this aura stuff, so you guys have it written out for you to have with you to help with your sessions as well. Okay, what other questions do we have about using Healy at a distance? It doesn't have to have anything to do with what I showed you. If you guys have different modalities and curious how you could use them, this is our opportunity to just powwow together. Lindsay, did you have a question? Okay, if nobody has questions, I'll just keep talking for a little while. I think that there are just so many ways you can use Healy at a distance. So oftentimes I've showed you guys what I do when I'm like charging people, but a lot of the time I'm not charging people for what I'm doing at a distance. A lot of times I'm helping parents with their children at a distance. So I think like recently we found a beautiful equation that actually Marcus, the inventor of Healy, gave us through Susan, that Nina has found and a few others of us, including myself, now using at a distance. The equation works at a distance very well. And I will include that in a cheat sheet as well. I'll write that out in a cheat sheet, what he said to do. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Nina, if you remember it off the top of your head, you can chime in what the equation was.
So basically it was, I'll give the example of the first one I did it with. So this little girl had a massive rash and I was sending frequencies all weekend and it literally just kind of stopped it from growing, but it wasn't necessarily making it recede. And it took like 2 days to get it to stop itching. So then in that meantime, we had learned about the equation. So then I'm like, okay, you look at the issue that's at hand first. So the visible issue was the rash. So I'm like skin, running a skin program. Then the second thing you want to do, and I go with my intuition for length of time. So I believe I did that one for 37 seconds. And then the second thing I ran was the gold program so that it could like release and help with a gentle balance of what was taking place. The third program is the digital nutrition or your bioenergetic harmony 1 or 2. And then your last program, you're finishing with the meridians. So I never went over a minute 20 with any of those. And I did them back to back to back. Before the end of the day, her rash was practically gone. And it was like her whole side.
Yeah, and so we have this equation that I'll write out for you guys. I think, Nina, that after gold was toxins maybe, but what Nina's saying is that in this space, in the third part of the equation, toxins make sense for a lot of things, but Nina felt called to use something else that's just as powerful as a powerful release like toxins would release in the bioenergetic harmonies as well. That's a good call. And in fact, maybe a gentler call for a child than toxins. And I as well worked with an individual over this week whose child has a G tube. That since the G tube has been placed, has just been angry. It is red. It has keloid scars. It has granulation tissue. It looks ridiculously painful. And they've tried all of the things that I use to keep Luna's G site beautiful are just not working for this child. And so this family that I'm connected with, I thought, let's try this. Not just Healy at a distance, but now I have this equation, let's try this. And they are getting such phenomenal results. Like it's changing when nothing has changed this child's G-tube site. So while this is a really inflamed situation, and I believe we need to do a few more sessions, there's change when there hasn't been change yet at all. So using this at a distance is like, you get to kind of make whatever this is for you and who you are specifically. Coming back to in the beginning when we were talking about some of the different modalities that I think it was just Nina and Yarrow and I who were on at that time. But for example, with Yarrow and having her herbal company where you make these herbal medicines, Yarrow, learning how to use the aura analysis part of the app to imprint frequency from your tinctures. Like you can literally take the frequency of, let's say you made a tincture for motherhood or whatever kind of an herbal remedy it is. You can grab the frequency of that and make a frequency program from it yourself, and then infuse those in your sessions. And then say, you know, I recommend that you use the tincture physically as well as energetically for it to be even powerful. And you're still selling your herbal tincture, but also combining it with frequency medicine. And potentially, if you were using like the bands that go around your wrist or the electrodes on a glass bottle that you put the tincture or the mixture into, you could infuse frequency into your herbal tinctures from that app as well, from the Aura app. And there are instructions with how to make your own programs that these, I think they're chiropractors, frequency medicine practitioners, that some practitioners made that I put in the boards app. That is actually how I've made some money manifestation frequency programs that worked extremely well for me. Now I'm a thought-based manifester, so these types of manifestation techniques are my jam. So if you're a feeling-based manifester, you might not get as strong of results as somebody like I do gets from the coach app or from making like a money manifestation thing within the aura analysis, unless you sit with it and feel and visualize this reality with yourself as you're doing that. So Yara, that was a note that I had for you that I think would be really cool to see you infusing frequency with your other practices. And even in things like reaching out into the massage therapy world that you're a part of, that you don't want to be like an active practitioner of right now, but think of all the ways that that whole industry could be using Healy or be using your herbal. I'm thinking of like rubs that you could make for them that's infused with frequency medicine that could even just get the wheels turning in their head and then think, oh, wow, like I'm used to using coconut oil for my massages, but I used Yara's that's infused with, let's say one of the fitness programs like regeneration or even stamina or something like that, or strength. If these are massage therapists that are working on people, let's say, who are people who work out a lot, doing a lot of deep tissue release of that fascial tissue and stuff like that. And they might be like, this is working so well. Like, I want to know more about frequencies. And so I'd love to see you all making it like uniquely yours too, because I'm even noticing after being in this for, you know, the months that I have, that the way I did it in the beginning is so different than the way I'm doing it now. And even just in the last like week or two, stepping into this space of saying, I'm going to create my own healing modality because I'm doing all kinds of things within my sessions that aren't actually the names that I put on them anymore. And so now I'm trying to just develop my own version of things and kind of flow with it the way that, you know, I don't want to have healing sessions where everybody has to be quiet and meditative. That doesn't fit my life right now. How can I shift this to be something that fits my life? So I tend to call in people who are other mothers who don't care if I'm breastfeeding or Atlas is banging a pot in the background. They, you know, that doesn't bother them. But the clientele that I used to have before I had Atlas, they might feel like, well, I'm paying for this session and it needs to be quiet and calm and perfect. And so just really kind of thinking who your audience is and how you can create this for them. You might have an audience that feels like they don't want to get on and do a Zoom call. They don't care about seeing you on the app. They might want a different kind of a package experience, or just be on with you and not want to see necessarily what the Healy is doing. I find that since I've started getting on and doing Zooms and showing people the Healy, I close the sale almost every single time. Even though people are just coming on to have a Healy experience and they're not even thinking they're going to buy it, they do. Because it's not just some mysterious, intangible thing that they're like, I mean, because this is not really special looking. it's just this like little thing. It's nothing compared to like the magic that's within it. So I have found when sharing the screen and showing them that this isn't some magical unicorn thing, it's easy for you to use. Look, you can see it's just like an app. You just click these buttons, that people feel less intimidated by it, especially the people who aren't practitioners already. Feel a little bit more confident, like, oh, okay, I don't have to be as experienced as Robin to have a tool like this. And on top of that, gives you an opportunity to share with them that there's a community of us here. It's not just me and it's not just you. You're joining a group of people who are all trying to learn this the best way they can, and all in these different ways, and all support each other. Because I mean, for me, that's a huge call in, is having a community of people who are like me, who are trying to use this device as well. All right, guys, what other kinds of questions do we have about any distance work? Oh, another thing, at the end of your sessions, whether you send this in an email follow-up or you say this at the end of your sessions, please, please, please always remind everybody they need to be drinking a lot of water. Most people won't admit to you that if they're not water drinkers, they're just like, oh yeah, I'll drink more water. But if you're like the kind of person who drinks coffee, soda, tea, and maybe you take a sip of water a day, frequency medicine is not going to work potently on you at all, because not at all. It'll work in the ethereal spaces of you, but physically, nope. Because frequency needs water to move through your body. It'll be like moving through quicksand without it. So I always remind my clients 24 hours before they have their session, hey, drink more water. Make sure you're drinking more water leading up to our session. And I remind them that after. And then I also tell them that within 24 hours of our session, you need to get into the water. And preferably that is your entire body, like a full body shower, a full body bath. Go jump in the ocean or the lake or the pool. And while you're in the water, just set the intention that you're allowing whatever no longer serves you to release right out into the water. It's so important. This is a huge part of helping your clients to not have a frequency hangover. To let them know that if they need to have an emotional release, if they need to cry, don't hold back those tears. Those tears are coming out to literally release what no longer serves you. What else can I remember to say to you guys? There are other times when I do sessions that are like my distance sessions where I don't even tell people, like, they know that I use frequency medicine, but I don't really talk about the Healy being any part of it. For those sessions, I use myself as the facilitator for the connection. I don't use the Healy in Blue app. I use it in Pink app. I use it a lot in emotion code sessions. When we are releasing deep traumas, deep wounds, I'll run the release program. And find that people, instead of needing like 6 or 7 emotion code sessions or a couple of heart wall sessions, they're having huge releases in 1 or 2 sessions, and then they're not needing me. And the way I look at it is, with that release program, it basically is helping me to keep their governing meridian wide open and not keep waxing and waning, open and close, open and close, open and close as I'm doing the session. It's way less work for me to keep their subconscious mind on board with me, to keep that meridian open. With emotion code, I'm working with people's subconscious. I'm working with their energy bodies, not with their conscious mind. Sometimes their conscious mind comes along for the journey with us. But some people, they don't know how to control their energy bodies. So it's almost like a breath movement, like breathing, like an ebbs and flows of that governing, at least in my mind's eye, how I see it, of that governing meridian, open and closing, open and closing. So sometimes it can make emotions that we're trying to pull out, especially heart wall emotions, which is a different form of emotion code, where we are breaking down the literal heart wall you have built around your heart, which is a little bit stickier than just regular trapped emotions. When I run that release program, though, I feel like it doesn't close. It just stays open for me. So I can pull out a lot more and quicker. So my sessions are quicker, the releases are quicker. And I'm finding that to be really helpful too, in a way where like it is a tool that I'm not always just obviously wielding with people. Or as I'm building up my own healing modality and the individuals who are like, they're like my case studies. They're the people who are helping me to develop my own form of healing by allowing me to just be myself and help them heal whatever comes out of me, however comes out, so I can like put it into words so I can teach other people. These people, I'm kind of just like, I use the Healy, it's like on in the background, but I'm allowing all of my other abilities to come through and work with them as well. I share all of this because I think there are infinite ways that we can use Healy at a distance. If you are experienced at connecting at a distance with energy work, you can absolutely use the Pink app as well, because you are a quantum sensor. You are able to do what the Healy can do, connecting with somebody at a distance. But if you don't know how to do that, then you would need to be trained on how to do that in order to use the Pink app truly at a distance, or else it's just putting it into the space around you. It's not, it has no idea how to connect with somebody at a distance in the Pink app. The Pink app does not have the ability to connect with people. It's only in the Blue app, and you see, that's why you have to pick the person that you're going to work on, because it's like a key fob. It has a receiver and a transmitter. And the Pink app doesn't. So you have to be able to hold that. You have to be that bridge to connect, just like in distance Reiki. I don't have a machine that's connecting me to my clients. I am connecting me to my clients. And this is definitely something that in the future, I think is something that we'll come on and we'll train you guys about too, because I think that
you're the conduit.
Yes.
You're the conduit. You're using the Pink app, and you don't have to put the stickies on yourself while you're doing it. You're just actually, you personally are connecting your energetic frequency to the Healy to absorb the release app mode program to
What
inject
I'm
it in the
doing
person.
is what I do is a little bit different than that. So what you could do is you could connect the Pink app to you, and then you literally be that connector as it's going through you to go into the person at a distance. Instead, the way I look at it as like, I am the channel. And but rather than my physical body as the channel, it is, I create in my mind's eye this like brilliant bright white rainbow bridge that comes from my heart into the other person's heart. And so it's that is taking the frequencies. It's not actually my physical body, because in the past, if you were to do that, you're going to be feeling like you're feeling, and feeling like you're taking on all the energy, like you're doing it all. You're healing them. But the more you work in distance work, and the more you come to realize, or the more I have come to realize, I'm not healing people. I am connecting with source energy, bringing that through as the channel for that person to heal themselves, because they don't know how to connect with that themselves. I'm not special in this sense that like I have some crazy magic powers that somebody else couldn't have. I just know how to connect with God energy and bring it through to this person. And when I stepped back and started doing it like that, and letting that do the work rather than me kind of trying to control how the healing happened, it's so much easier for me. I used to not be able to do any type of energy work after 3 p.m. because it would just literally like make me want to crawl out of my skin. And then I couldn't sleep. And then the whole next day would be messed up. And so I really I had the hard cutoff, no clients after 2 p.m. And now when I'm stepping back and doing this more, where I'm allowing like that energy to be what's healing, and not me and my type A personality trying to control the healing, I feel so much better. And I probably could do later sessions now. I'm at least able to be around you guys later in the day, when even being around like a group of other like high vibing individuals was too much for me, and I would be like vibing out of my skin for the rest of the day. And that might be another thing too, Yarrow, at the end of your sessions, not even at the end of the day, but at the end of each session, to call back your energy and release the other person's energy, to make that part of your practice every time you do a session might be so helpful to you. I can't tell you how helpful it is to just call your energy back to you at the end of the day. You don't even realize it's not even about energy work. Like every exchange we're having, like you guys all have a little bit of me now. And then we go and we like go to the grocery store, and then you get like other people, especially if you have a lot of open centers in your human design, you'll be absorbing more people. So even just like I'm calling back all of me and releasing all that is not mine, that no longer serves me, can be super helpful for that to feel replenished and not so overtaken by other people's energies at the end of, you know, a day of helping people. Okay, Kaylee said in her business, she works a lot with couples' sex lives, and she'd really love to open up a conversation around using Healy with couples to support their intimacy. She'd love to connect with practitioners that have experience like this. You know who would be a really great person to talk with, Kaylee, I think, is Susan Proctor. She works with women who are in postmenopausal stages. I know this is not everybody, but she works with these women along with her healing and stuff to help them get their juicy back, which is literally what it sounds like, so they can rediscover their sexual beingness after their body changes so much through menopause. But she works with people in this realm of like, she's not uncomfortable talking about sex and intimacy and even those maybe uncomfortable parts of it, of like how your body is different or how your body doesn't respond the way that a younger body would, that I could think like at people, women in postpartum phases or men who have low libidos, that might be part of why they're not feeling connected sexually. She might be such a beautiful resource to even just have a conversation with.
Okay, yeah, I definitely I had thought about that myself when we did the last Zoom. So
yeah, I think that this is really, I love that you're bringing this up, because one thing that I noticed I have the Goddess program that Taryn, one of the people on our upper team, and Doc Steve made, and that some of you had, well, I think a lot of you had the opportunity to earn, but you could also purchase through them. I think we found out it was like $40 or something to purchase, or maybe it was 60. Anyway, okay. This Goddess program, I noticed, and my husband was like so embarrassed when I said this the other day. So sorry, Glenn, that this is on recording, but I was running the Goddess program when I first got it. We were given it, and Doc Steve gave it to us for free if we would give him feedback. So I was taking notes for the first week. I like consistently ran it every day. And the way that my husband was seeing me and feeling just like all this juicy energy between us, not just like, it wasn't that it was like him, but it was like me feeling so much more in my like feminine energy, and also helped me to feel so much more on the receiving end of things. Like this is something I've realized lately in the last couple of months, that I'm struggle with receiving. I give, do. And by the time it's my turn to receive, yes. By the time it's my turn to receive, I'm just like, I have nothing in my tank. I don't even want that, even though I do want that connection. Yes. I found that the Goddess program helped me with that and helped me feel very in my divine feminine, or sacred feminine, I forget which one it is, and feel really like receptive. And the energy just felt really like juicy and playful around us. And while I don't know if anybody else has this results from the Goddess program, I think that this is a really cool place to explore.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that I would like to open the conversation up more around, just because of the direction that my business is. So that's really good information, and connecting with other practitioners that are using this and having those types of results is kind of the information that I was looking for. But also like applying Healy in distance mode with couples.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the conversation I wanted to open, if for future recordings and stuff too. So
And I can think too, like all of the work that we just showed, I know you jumped on a little bit later, Kaylee, but all of the work of like doing, first doing a chakra balancing with them. And I think you and I have talked about this, of doing it separate, but also
yes,
showing them who they are together. And if you capture
absolutely.
their chakras as a couple, and it will be so cool for you to confirm this, but you can see the imbalances in the relationship in that combined chakra system. You probably
Mhm.
would see extremely rooted people who are like hanging on by the seat of their pants to like their marriage, their relationship, so rooted that they're not even able to see the forest through the trees.
Mm.
Or you'll see people who are so ungrounded because they feel so scared that maybe this isn't going to work out. You would see so much through just their chakras, and that's something they can visually see. Oh wow, look at where we are. And then have the session, do all the things we do, add in the talking, the guiding, the coaching, as well as the healing, and then at the end scan them again and see
Yeah,
and show
I
them
definitely,
what the work did.
exactly. Well, the aura scanner is definitely going to be something that I utilize in that manner, once I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. I can't wait for that cheat sheet, by the way. Um, yeah, but I also, because I do sessions together, not just separately, um, it's nice to have both. And like I said, having something that can, like an example, using or finding a certain frequency for a session where I am having them together, something that's going to appease to the group energy, like when I scan their auras together, or pardon me, when I record their auras together, being able to use that to apply to the unity energy. So I've just got lots bouncing around in my head around this. So it's one of the reasons I wanted to open the conversation. I really love some of the stuff you've suggested so far. And I think I'll just take that and we'll move forward with that kind of in mind and do some brainstorming.
Yeah,
Guys, if
and
anybody thinks of
I'm just
anything, to
really
send my
excited to
direction.
see how all of you, having your specialties, how you all become the voice of authority in these fields and teach us. Like a lot of these things are like uncharted territory. I didn't have anybody that I looked to figure out how do I infuse this in my distance sessions. I just kind of tried it, figured it out, see what works, see what doesn't work, see what I like. And you guys are going to be able to do that same thing and then be that authority who's saying, you know what, this is how I work with clients, this is how I work with couples, and this is how I work on them through things that are very physical, like their sexual energy and connection as well. That I think is just going to be really cool to see where you guys are in 3 months, coming back and reviewing this and seeing like, what Erica has done with her clients, what Yarrow has been able to build in melding her techniques together, and what Kaylee has done with these couples. And I'm just really excited to see all of this unfold. Awesome. Okay, guys, thank you. We were hanging out here for a while. I didn't even realize what time it is because my Blue app always tells me that it's a different time than it really is. And I forget that still. And I'm always thinking it's like an hour earlier than it is. So thank you guys for hanging out with me for this long. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them now, or else we will end this distant training chat for today.
Thanks so much.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Yarrow and Valerie and Kaylee and Erica and Nina and everybody else who is here popping in throughout this. Have a great Sunday, guys.
You too.